I started university officially in 200 level, and from 200 level to 500 level, I was never below a first class. In this video, I'm going to be sharing how I was able to maintain a first class for 4 solid years, or maybe 5 years. I think I should put a disclaimer that if you see me sweating at any point in this video, maybe you may see me sweating or you see me sweating. The weather is so hot, but I have to use the sun to shoot this video. 1, those who are scared of failure cannot do this. What I mean is that I know people who do very well tend to be like their fear is failure because they always want to do very well. But the thing about not being scared of is that when you're not scared of failure, you're not scared to aim high. When you're not scared of failure, you're not scared to go for it no matter how far it may look. Because when you're already aiming high, you already know it's high enough for you to fail at it, but you still aim that way. So recently my mom was showing me a jotter where in 2020 I was writing some things that I wanted to achieve by the time I'm done with school. I think it's somewhere around here. Oh yeah, can you imagine? It's not so far. It was recently, yes, 2020, and I was writing that I want to finish with a 4.90 CGPA. I can do it, all assignment, all tests, class and that. I mean, not everything did I do yet, but what I'm just trying to say is that, do you know what a 4.90 is? That's a very high first class. If I was aiming for a 4.90, that means I was already prepared for whatever was going to happen. But if you're scared of failure, people who are scared of failure reduce their expectation because they do not want to be sad. They do not want to be sad that they could not achieve their expectation. So instead of aiming for a 4.90 because of the fear of failure, they're like, oh, what if I don't get a 4.90? So they drop it. They're like, 4.5 is just first class, I'm good with the 4. Aim for the 4.90 like that, and you're going to see that you cannot get something lower or very, very lesser than that, so that even if you don't end up getting that 4.90, you will get something almost at 4.90. So understand that failure is part of life and aim that way. The B part of what I'm going to say, which is also under this, is to plan. Like when I'm saying plan, I'm not talking about to-do list. I'm talking about what you want to have for yourself. Write it down. Don't be scared to write down the vision and make it plain so that you can always go back to it and remind yourself. Yes, I forgot about this book. I probably even misplaced it, so I couldn't even come and check it. But then it was already very registered in my subconscious that even without the book, I knew what I was going for when I got into school. And for some people, it might be like, oh, why did you not just aim for 5.0? That's what everybody aims for, right. But I knew what I wanted. It's okay if what you want is an A and what another person wants is a B. What I wanted was a 4.90, and if I had gotten a 4.90, I would have been good, and that was it. Write down what you want. I feel like this thing is something that you should always do every semester. Like when you start the semester, write down the grade that you want to have for every course you are taking. Do you want to have an A? Do you want to have a B? Are you okay with just 70 or the dot, or you want to have something as high as an 80? Write it out and run with it, so that during the semester, when it looks like, at the beginning of the semester, it's always like, oh, we have visions, we have resolutions, we are working towards them. But when it gets to the middle of the semester, everybody has forgotten about these things. Everybody has let go, especially if you have done a couple of tests and it looks like you didn't do well in the test. You just let go, like, oh, I can't get that grade again. But when you write it out, you can go back to it and check it, like, oh, I wrote that I wanted to have 80 something in this, and okay, I already got 20 this in my test. How many more marks do I need? So you already know. If it's something that you're going for, like a 50 something over 70 in your exam, you already know that you cannot play in your exam. But if you don't have a vision in mind, if you don't have something you are running with, if you don't have something you are working towards, you will just be okay with any grade that is score, and you will keep getting lesser. You keep doing lesser. The number 2 thing I'm going to advise you to do, that I did, that also helped me, is to count my cost. Many times we think we are very good at multitasking, but what we don't know is that there is really no such thing, or almost no such thing, as multitasking. What really exists is task switching. So when you think that you can watch a movie and wash plates at the same time, what you're actually doing is that you are switching tasks. So for some few seconds you are watching the movie, and for some few seconds you are washing the plate. The moment you are looking at the plate, you are no longer looking at the TV. Do you get? So count your cost. If you know that you're not someone who can handle so many things together, don't try to juggle too many extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities are very important because you need them. You see the need when you're done with school. You need them for your CV building and then to also help you to acquire some skills that you need when you get outside, right? But then don't let it be too much. Focus on the things that interest you and the things that you really want to do. Don't let people pressure you into doing things that you don't want to do because they feel like, oh, you're going to be good at it, or because the position they're offering you there looks like something that is very nice. Go for what you can do. If you know that you cannot do politics, don't bother with politics. If you know that you cannot do, too many things, don't bother with too many things. Just focus with what is just enough to combine with your academics. So count your costs. That's what I'm going to tell you. Because when you get into school, if you're watching this video and you're just in your first year, second year, when you get into school, there'll be so many activities to join. I promise you, you will not get enough of the activities. You are the one that has to say, oh, I'm not doing this, oh, I'm going to do this, oh, I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to be very committed to it, or I'm going to do this ones and I'm going to be very committed to it. So you have to count your cost. Your cost must not be too much, your cost must not be too little, just enough to balance with your academics. The number 3 thing I'm going to tell you that I did is to stick with your story. Don't let other people's story define you. I remember one time in 200 level, we had finished classes and immediately I got to my hostel. I changed and I was going to the library to go and study, and I saw one of my classmates telling me, you just finished reading, we just finished classes and you're really going to classes now. Wow, can you call? She was trying to say like, oh, people that do too much. I felt somehow like, do they actually shame people for reading and all of those stuff? And it wasn't even like she knew me so much. I mean, like I said earlier, I started in 200 level, so we did not have that kind of relationship. She was even speaking to me that way. So I felt somehow, if I was, a very timid person, I could have just, gone back to my room and be like, oh, I'm not reading again, or next time I don't want anybody to see me going to the library or something like that. Don't let other people define you. That person was just trying to project I don't know if to say on seriousness on me, right? So stick with what works for you. If you have to read something 100 times before you get it, don't compare yourself with someone who can read it twice and get it. Because people can be like, oh, you're doing too much, you're reading too much. But you know yourself, you know your level of intelligence, you know that you cannot read it once and go straight to the test or the exam, or you know you have to read it some time more. Do what works for you and stick to your story. You're not in a competition with anybody, you're in a competition with yourself. You're in a competition with that former grade that you had. If you had 60 before, you're in a competition with yourself to have 70. If you had 70, you're in a competition with yourself to have 80. Next thing I'm going to say is preparation over intelligence. You do not need to be so intelligent to have a good grade. All you have to do is to make your preparation so much. If you can prepare so well, I promise you, intelligence, smartness, blah blah blah, all those stuff, they do not matter. What matters is your level of preparation, right? Develop self-reliance. Self-reliance is the ability to believe that you can learn things on your own without other people or tutors or lecturers. Don't bank on lecturers. Don't think that if the lecturer does not teach it in class, you cannot understand. Don't think that if you do not join a study group, if you do not have somebody who always explains it to you, you cannot understand. The study groups are good. Attending classes is good. Meeting people to explain to you is good. But don't bank on these things. Rely on yourself. Trust your brain. Trust your ability. And that's why I always say that blotting is a very good study technique in such a way that when you want to read it, ask yourself, what do I know about this topic first before I start reading? You must trust your brain. That's why examination malpractice can never help a first class student. If you have somebody that is aiming for a first class, examination malpractice can never be your priority. If you see any first class students indulging in that kind of stuff, I promise you they weren't banking on it. It just happened. Maybe somebody asked them and they told them, or they forgot something and they asked people. They don't bank. First class students don't bank on examination malpractice, because self-reliance is one of the things that help in maintaining or gaining momentum for a first class. You must be able to believe your mind, trust your brain, trust your intelligence, and believe that you can read it yourself and understand. Believe that you can learn it yourself and understand. Believe that you can study yourself and pass. So read with the mindset of you are the one that wants to teach others. Don't read with the mindset of somebody is going to teach you. Read with the mindset of you. When people come to ask you for explanation, you can explain to them. So read as the tutor, don't read as the one being tutored. Read as the lecturer, don't read as the student. Read as the head of the study group. Don't read as somebody that is just going to the study group to go and listen. Even if you have these things and it's completely okay, right? Don't let them be your priority. Your priority should be trusting your brain. If someone comes to meet you for explanation, don't tell them, I'm not ready to meet. Tell them to come. Even if you're not ready, go and read it. Go and read it. When they come, you'll be explaining it to them and you'll be understanding it better. Don't send people away when they come and meet you for explanation. Read it and teach them. Don't say, me too, I don't understand. Self-reliance is very, very important. The next thing I'm also going to advise somebody that is aiming for a first class or looking at maintaining their first class is to keep aiming high. If you're currently on, say, 4.5, aim for 4.7. If you're on 4.6, aim for 4.8. If you're on 4.7, aim for 4.9. Always aim too high, because if you aim too high, you can never get too low. So even if you aim too high and you don't get that particular score, you can never get too low. So aim that way, no matter how high it looks, no matter how impossible it looks, no matter how it looks. Oh, yeah, your third year, yeah, your fourth year already, it's not looking good already. It's not looking like, oh, you're going to get that particular score. Keep aiming high, because when you aim too high, you can never get too low. Then the second to the last thing I'm going to say is to be disciplined. If you're a member of this community, you already know our anthem. Motivation is short term, discipline is long term. I say this in almost all my videos. Motivation can make you say, oh, I need to carry my books now. It is discipline that will make you seated there for the number of hours that you need to read. Motivation can make you say, oh, at the beginning of this semester, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this. It is discipline that keeps you rooted in it, so that even at the middle of the semester, where it's not even looking like it, when it looks like everybody has forgotten their new semester resolution, their new semester goals, their new academic session, everything, it is discipline that still keeps you in line, in tandem with those things that you have written that you said you're going to achieve. You guys can see how I'm so passionate about this, because when it comes to academic excellence, I don't play. My mic already died, but I already resoluted that I'm going to shoot this video no matter what, because I have to tell you, you have to know that academic excellence, as sweet as it is, does not come on a platter of gold, but it can come on a platter of gold for you if you work for it. So you actually worked for it, but when it comes, it's going to look like, did I even do so much? It's going to, you're not even going to remember all the struggles that you went through. Why do you think women, even after going through the pain of labor, give birth again? Because when they give birth to the child is always a good thing. They're always happy, and still they're like, oh, I want another. You get? So when you have your academic excellence, you're not even going to remember all the pains, all the sleepless nights, all those times that you were crying and struggling and everything. You're just going to be like, I want another. Another thing I'm going to advise you to do is set a standard for yourself. Set a standard for yourself that no matter what, I cannot go below this. It is the standard that I've set for myself that will make me so tired and sleepy, and I'm like, oh, I cannot go and sleep till I finish reading this topic, till I finish reading this course, because I know that I've set a standard for myself and I cannot go below that standard. There are some scores that I know that I cannot score. Why? Because I've set a standard for myself and I cannot go below that standard. Next thing I'm going to tell you, okay, I know I said second to the last one time, but it doesn't matter. This is the actual second to the last. Study. See, forgetting is a natural experience. If you study and you forget, you don't have any problem. You don't need to feel bad about it. It is completely normal to study and to forget. The brain only retains about 5% of the information that we give to it. Not to talk of when you now need it like weeks after, months after, and all of that. And that's why you must keep studying. If you read something now, right, you have to keep rereading it until the point that you finally need the information, maybe exam test and all of that. We cannot rule out the fact that there are some things that we study in the weirdest form and it actually stays with us for life. For instance, the definition of health that my PhD teacher taught me in GS2, I still remember it. Why? Because I formed a song with it. Study with the best method that works for you. If a song, if a mnemonic, I make a video about study techniques, whether you are unmotivated to study. I also have another one for you. Even if you are motivated but you are busy, I have videos. Make sure to check out my other videos, right? Make sure to study. If you outline everything that I've said, you see that each of them have a dint of studying inside them. So even if I did not say study at a separate point, you already worked. Because when I spoke about self-reliance, trusting your brain, how are you going to trust your brain if you don't study? When I talked about preparation, what was the preparation there if it's not studying? But the essence of this point is to tell you that if you're somebody who maybe you study and you forget easily and you feel like, oh, you have one problem or you have one spiritual problem, my dear, you don't have any spiritual problem, nothing's wrong with you. It's completely okay to read and forget. All you have to do is to pray about it and also sit down and study. After some while, like maybe few days, go back and reread it again, like just revise it, not like really the same way that you read it before. Don't let so many days pass by before you read and read again. So if you are somebody like that with slow assimilation, I prefer to call those kind of people, then you have to be reading more often. That's why I said earlier that don't compare yourself with another person. Don't put your story with another person. Some people are fast with that. Some people are not even aiming for what you're aiming for. Oh my god, you're going for a 4.90, and then you have somebody that is going for maybe just second class over, they are good with it, right? Your goal is not the same, even though both of you in your view are going for academic excellence. Do you get what? Last thing I'm going to say is to be prayerful. We all know that God helps those who cannot help themselves. Heaven does not help those who help themselves. Heaven helps those who admit that they cannot help themselves. So you have to see, there are some courses that you face that you just be like, see God, if you don't help me for this paper, I already know that I cannot pass it. Now, is it true that people that do not believe in God, or do not, have God, or do not have that kind of relationship with God, do not pass their exams or do not ace them? No, that's not true, right? Because there's some people that don't have any relationship with God, probably atheists, and they do well academically. But where trusting God comes in is that you are understanding that in yourself you are not sufficient, but with the sufficiency of God you can do more with little, such that you don't have to read for 24 hours before you even pass the person who has studied for 12 hours. That's what I'm trying to, like, that's the place where the sufficiency of God comes in. So it's not like you're not going to study, it's just that God is going to crown your effort so much that you will put in little and you see big results, right? So you need God. So when I'm saying you need God, I'm not trying to say that, oh, just chase God for academic excellence. Chase God for who he is, and every other thing will be added on to you. I really hope you found this video helpful. If you did, make sure to put it in the comments. I felt like I was so passionate the way I was talking about it, but yeah, I'm also struggling with I'm also just recovering from malaria. Maybe that's why the sweating is double with this heat. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel to stay tuned for other videos that are going to be coming your way. This channel is your education or academic, or where we just talk about everything that relates to your academic. I'm trying to build a community, and I hope you're one of them. Till next time, bye.